Welcome to Module 11, Safety Planning. This 11th in a series of online learning modules provides an introduction to care coordination using the Wraparound practice model in alignment with the National Wraparound Initiative. These modules focus on providing an introduction to the practice model, wraparound facilitation skills and competencies to implement the model, and links to further resources for the learner about wraparound practices. The Butler County Family and Children First Council partnered with the Center for School-Based Mental Health Programs at Miami University to produce the learning modules. Please push the forward arrow on the bottom right to advance to the next slide. Here are the objectives for this module. Participants will be able to review steps to prepare and lead the team in developing safety plans, understand how safety plans incorporate the principles of wraparound while meeting community standards for safety, recognize the challenges that teams face when developing safety plans, identify the stages of safety programming in guiding wraparound teams. As was discussed in the last module, safety is often when there is a concern of real harm to someone and external rules and laws are in question. These are times when basic health is compromised and the risk is high for injury or even death. These situations require a response from others to keep someone safe. These are non-negotiable times when there needs to be an immediate reaction to maintain safety. This response, though, needs to balance minimizing risk with opportunities for skill development for the youth. In wraparound, safety planning involves defining the situation, assessing the risk, and setting procedures to follow to maintain safety. In this module, we will go over the components and steps of safety planning and how it differs from crises planning. Once you have calmly defined the situation, the plan includes ways to reduce risks and helps everyone feel safer and builds in ways to support growth of the person, not just planning for handling the event once unsafe behavior occurs. Safety planning is different from crises planning. Crises is defined by the family and can or cannot have a response. Safety is non-negotiable and requires a response from others. As part of wraparound planning, the team talks about the strengths of the family, what works, what doesn't work and why, and what are the unmet needs leading to the concerning behaviors. As we discussed in Module 10, crises can range from running away to threatening behaviors towards others, verbal outbursts, etc. Past patterns help us know what will probably happen, so if we are prepared for them, it doesn't feel as scary. Safety plans focus on what society defines as appropriate and inappropriate behaviors. There have been times where there is an overlap with crises plans for behaviors like aggression or running away. The difference lies in the severity of the risk of harm and how imminent is it to happen. Many safety plans are developed for violent outbursts, sexual acting out, suicide attempts, medication compliance to avoid life-threatening situations, and more. The need for adequate supervision is often communicated as a need for a safety plan. Safety planning involves a series of steps from defining the situation to regrouping following an incident to see how the plan is working. The first step is to clearly describe the situation, then clarify the goals of the planning. Next, the team defines the inappropriate behavior and the appropriate safe behavior wanted. The team discusses family and community rules, which will support the desired behaviors, and educates family and community members who will be involved to support implementation of these rules and procedures. Included in this, the team plans for the person in the various settings they will encounter in the community. The planning should be for a 24-hour day and includes backup plans in case someone or something is missing from the plan on a particular day. The team should try to anticipate community reaction to the behavior and how they will communicate to address it. The team also needs to include a review of how the plan is working, especially following a time where it was not working well. The team begins by clearly describing the situation, the unsafe behavior, antecedents, environmental factors, and effect on relationships, so that everyone is clear what they are planning around. Safety plans are more defined in terms of the course of action than crises plans. In crises plans, the team is negotiating different things to try in order to curb behaviors or tendencies that cause stress. There may be judgment calls of which interventions to use. In safety planning, it is more clear-cut. The team is developing consistent procedures that will help ensure safety. Similar, though, to other planning, the team considers what the behavior is communicating and the unmet need that is leading to the behavior. By defining the situation, not just in terms of the behavior, but how it's impacting others, the team is able to plan for a response that is not just containing the behavior, but building confidence in handling and dealing with the effect of the situation. Let's look at Sam's team defining the situation they are planning around.
So what the team decided to do in between the last meeting and the current meeting was kind of shift our focus. There were some concerns around safety, primarily the safety that Gil and Tracy were talking about was the behavior that Sam is having in the car with Maggie. And this can escalate to the point of where it's not safe for anybody on the road, including other people who are driving other vehicles. So we want to talk a little bit about what does that actually look like when that happens.
What's he doing in the car?
What's he doing in the car?
You mean the actual situation?
What is he doing when he's having difficulty?
Oh, he might be throwing
things
things
at the driver.
At the driver.
Okay.
Yes, because I'm usually driving, so he's throwing things at me, the driver.
Kicking the back of the seat,
Yes,
taking his
Okay.
fist and hitting things.
yes.
Right
Hitting
there.
the windows with his fist, screaming at the top of his lungs.
Screaming, yeah,
Yes.
that can be very disturbing. And you said hitting window and kicking the seat. Okay. So let's talk about putting some rules in place that can help address these safety issues.
As can be seen from this, it rises to the level of safety when he hits or throws things at his mother while she is driving. It is still important to understand the dynamics of the behavior in order to create a meaningful safety plan. You need to know what the behavior in question is, and it does help to know what the motivating reasons are behind it in order to offer replacement behaviors. The team develops a specific goal of what they want to see or if the need were met, what the desired behavior would be, how the system would be rebalanced. Next, the team defines what the appropriate behavior is and makes clear the boundary of inappropriate behavior. If this were sexual grooming behavior, shaking hands may be appropriate, but giving hugs may not. In Sam's case, no touching of the driver while driving or throwing things, even in play, was felt appropriate. If his need was related to feeling secure when in an overstimulating environment, options that let him communicate he is upset without hitting may be acceptable depending on what they were. Safety plans may engender scary feelings to facilitators, as these types of situations are things we often don't think about in our own home lives, but for many families, this has been part of their life for a long time. As we truly want to keep youth in their community as much as possible, it is important to be aware of one's own biases and ways to respond calmly and confidently and have honest dialogue, and be resourceful in developing plans so that families can feel safe and the youth can remain at home. The team then develops rules and procedures for doing things to maintain safety. Besides rules about not hitting or appropriate touching in Sam's case, there may be rules about wearing seatbelts, use of radio, and wearing headphones while riding in the car to help everyone stay safe. Those involved discuss how they think it will work so that their input is used in crafting a plan that accounts for barriers or challenges others may see. Let's look again at Sam's team as they plan what to do in the car for appropriate behavior or if inappropriate behavior occurs.
So let's talk about some rules. What are some rules that we can put into place that will help alleviate some of this? Because when we look at safety planning, it's all about we want to take care of the issue so that whoever's driving does not have a wreck.
We need to pull over.
Okay.
We just need to pull over is the main thing.
Pull over as quickly as
As far
possible.
when we we can safely pull over, yes.
Okay.
Keep the doors locked.
Okay. Are you concerned that he'll leave?
Yeah, absolutely. If I don't keep the doors locked and he can get out. The good thing is he cannot because I control the lock, so. But I'd rather him be safe inside instead of out running.
Okay. How about seating arrangements?
Oh, no, he sits where he sits and nobody
And
sits
nobody
there. Oh,
sits
no,
in
you
that
can't
seat.
move his seat.
How about Maggie? Where is she sitting?
She's sitting right next to him, but
Is there a way of moving her?
he's not really bothering her. He
No,
does not focus on
okay.
her. It's only on me driving or him kicking his seat. He's not doing anything
So is he
towards her.
sitting directly behind the driver?
No.
No, he's sitting kind
Diagonal
of behind the
away.
passenger,
Okay.
yes.
So we think we don't really need to mess with
He
the
wouldn't
seating
let
at all.
that would be a
No.
big trigger for him.
The next step is educating everyone involved on the rules or procedures so everyone can cooperate in keeping them, and there are clear expectations of everyone involved. This may involve sharing a written plan for those involved to reference. It allows for those involved to know what others are doing to support the plan and what to do should the inappropriate behavior occur and handle it calmly. The more clear you can be and consistent often goes a long way in helping to maintain safety. Here is a sample of a planning worksheet for the steps we have covered so far. In addition to what we have explained, supervision is often key in implementing a safety plan. Having a plan for ongoing supervision can be challenging. Giving opportunities for the youth involved to have their various needs met while also having supervision has to be worked out. In addition, the team needs to consider how they are building the skills for those involved to promote safety. Related to this may also be how this is coordinated with the person's treatment so that they both align. The next step is the plan for community safety. Sometimes families are dealing with violent behaviors in the home or sexually acting out or self-harming. The planning needs to consider the other environments the youth may be in and develop rules and procedures for those settings. Even when the behavior is primarily at home, the youth may run out of the house and do some inappropriate behavior, and the team needs to consider these situations. The team needs to think about how the plan at home should be different at school, as the rules and expectations are different. What if the kids are visiting grandma and not at their house with a lock on the bathroom? While you can't plan for every what if, you do want to get your team to think about these different settings. If your program works with youth who have developmental or cognitive delays, you need to be very specific with your rules, as there are things they can do at the bathroom at home that they should not do at the bathroom at school. Schools also need to share their expectations and rules around non-negotiables and zero-tolerance areas, such as threats to hurt self and others. When we bring up practicing crises and safety plans on teams, some members will give us some funny looks. But think about it. Schools practice fire drills, tornado drills, and active shooter drills. Why wouldn't we also practice safety plans? It is important to talk about safety planning, looking at the 24-hour days and across the different environments. If the concerns are about a youth who is sexually acting out at home, you may create rules like only one person in the bathroom at all times, only one person in the bedroom at all times. Bedroom doors must remain open unless someone is getting dressed or undressed. If you are creating rules around violent behaviors, the rules of the family may be: all knives are kept in a locked box under the kitchen sink. When Johnny starts to show signs of anger, the siblings are to lock themselves in the bathroom immediately. The team needs to consider how safety will be maintained at night when everyone should be asleep. Some might have door alarms activated and baby monitors used each night at bedtime. Others may check rooms before or after certain points of time. The idea is to consider the whole day and how appropriate behavior is to be encouraged. In addition, the team is working on skills to build capacity in the individual, to manage themselves better, and ways to earn trust or demonstrate competency as they improve. Let's revisit Sam's team brainstorming what else they can do to encourage safety for him while transporting him.
So what else can we do? If this is not really helping, are there some other kind of prevention things that we can think of that we
Well,
might want to put into place?
We were told not to transport him.
That's the biggest thing, we're not allowed to transport him
And-
anymore.
When he's upset,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But what if he gets upset in the middle of a ride?
Well, what we tried to do, what else can we do? We actually got him some headphones
Okay,
and music. We tried to find him little handheld games that he can do to, not get him
Distract him and
upset.
help the
Yes,
car ride be.
yes.
That way he can't hear what's going on. And a lot of times, we can't even play the radio.
No, we don't play the radio when he's in.
okay, so you keep everything
We
quiet?
keep it quiet. So she has headphones and he has headphones.
Okay,
We get videos for him, let him pick them out, and he can watch whatever he wants on his TV.
okay. Is there other people that you can kind of enlist to help? You said that you were told not to transport. Other ideas? Does he have this issue when he's being transported by Jeffrey?
No, no,
So maybe on some occasions you can, if Jeffrey's schedule
right.
allows, you can ask Jeffrey to help? Okay. Any other ideas?
Well, one thing I do, I'm gonna put it out there, I threaten to call 911.
Does that help?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
he knows if I call 911, he's gone.
It's
He's
a
gone.
natural, logical
They're going to pick
consequence
him
of
up
when
and
it
he's
We're
is.
gonna take
gone.
him to children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But we've only had to do this a couple times, I just wanna say that, so,
So the
yes.
adult does this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, awesome.
The facilitator also guides the team to have a plan B for the various settings the youth is in. What do you do when mom or dad works late and isn't there to supervise? How else can this goal for supervision be maintained? What if the teacher, who is the designated person to de-escalate, is out of the building? Has the team considered training others in techniques that are helpful to the youth? It is not possible to have a plan for every eventuality, but the idea is considered, are there ways to have a plan B if something of plan A falls through? Conversely, it is possible to do too much, which may keep the youth from growing or overburden those involved. The idea is for those involved to feel more confident in managing daily life, and if something does come up. Sometimes persons in the community will have a negative reaction to the behavior the youth may display. It is not unusual, for example, for schools to be fearful of having youth with self-harming or sexually acting out behaviors in their buildings. Ideally, the team has anticipated this and involved them in planning before having the youth in the environment. There will be times when, despite all of the planning and the rules and parameters, the behavior still may surface. It is important for families to know what to do and what is expected when this happens. The team should create a communication plan for who the family should call to inform of the situation and how the rest of the team can be informed as well. Sometimes this also entails having child welfare or law enforcement involved. The team needs to discuss how they will deal with any negative reaction the community will have to the behavior and how they will help the youth with it, as well as address concerns the community may have as you move into the future. The team needs to reconvene and process and regroup shortly after in most cases. Does the plan need to be revised? Sometimes yes and sometimes no. Are there new commitments that team members need to make to prevent this from happening again? Try to keep it from being too catastrophic and demoralizing, as these incidents can bring a team down. Be sure to include what worked well and remember to give the team hope using the values of strengths and unconditional care. Here is an example of page 2 of a safety planning worksheet for the second half of the steps we have been discussing. As with all planning and wraparound, we want to be specific as to who is doing what and when, and then capture what is the backup for this person. The planning needs to consider if the behavior still occurs, how to manage the situations. How will communicating with team be accomplished? The team needs to debrief after the incident, balancing having enough time for cooler heads, but not too long to be able to make adjustments to the team and community responses. Don't forget to also celebrate successes between meetings when safety issues aren't coming up. Reminding the team that it has been a week or a month without having to call the police or lock the door is a great success that should be celebrated and processed so that we can see what is being done and how well it has worked, as it could be replicated in other areas as well. We need to consider safety programming, not just in terms of the safety plan, but how we are guiding the team in building capacity to handle and heal from these unsafe situations. When we do this, we can use the work of Neil Brown, Wraparound Consultant, to speak of the 5 R's of safety programming. This perspective of what we are doing highlights more risk prevention than just response to an unsafe event, and supports opportunities for growth than just focusing on control responses. As we look at the stages of what the facilitator is guiding the team through, the team first looks at the risk, how to reconnect, how we can restore relationships from the harm that was done, how do we rehabilitate or build skills for the individual and those around them, and address regret of what could have been done differently to create a more hopeful belief about the family. Regarding the risk, we may ask, what is it? How likely is it to occur? How severe is the potential harm? In looking at reconnection, we may ask, who cares about the situation? How can they become involved? Reconnection is about engaging those living with the safety concerns and providing them an opportunity to interact about their concerns. In looking at restoration, we may ask, what was the harm? How can we address it? Restoration is about addressing those who have lost confidence or have fears regarding the safety concerns and helping to decrease their fears and improving their belief it doesn't have to happen again. In looking at rehabilitation, we may ask, what are the skills that can be developed to address the situation? Rehabilitation is about guiding the team in identifying new skills and ways that are an alternative to the threat, which reinforces their hope for change. In looking at regret, we can ask, what could I have done differently? Regret is about reinterpreting their story that helps overcome the stigma of the safety concern and helps them see a story of recovery and rebalance in their life. Safety programming also builds on protective factors of community building, confidence building, capacity building, and context building to make the situation better. As the facilitator, you guide the team in addressing the factor or factors where there is the most damage and see the opportunity to make change. We are helping the team move from fear and hurt to restored confidence and hope it can be different. As we also think of safety planning in the context of wraparound, there are tips others have found helpful to raise up as you work with teams. Proactive safety plans should build capacity or preventative skills. It is more important to focus on what to do instead of what not to do. While it may be tempting to try and control the behavior, deal with the unmet needs or underlying causes of unsafe behavior. help adults stay calm, which often is the best prevention practice. Analyze the function of the unmet need of the unsafe behaviors. Utilize functional strengths and resources familiar to the youth and family. Utilize the least restrictive and least intrusive strategies first. Build triage for differing levels of intensity and severity of safety events. Build safety plans early in life of the team so they are in place when situation occurs. Be sure to ask the youth and family what can go wrong with the plan as the first step in building the safety plan. They know best what can go wrong. Clearly define roles for team members. Planning for them up front will help the team keep to the mission of the overall plan during a crisis. Build roles for family members and natural support people, as they are likely to be most responsive when a situation occurs. Create time for the team to assess their management of a crisis within 2 weeks of the crisis. Establish a rule that no major decisions can be made until at least 72 hours after the crisis has passed. This can keep a team from overreacting to an event. Let's recap the main points we covered in this module. Safety concerns are situations that require a response of the wraparound team and build ways to reduce the risk of the safety concern happening and build skills for the individual to make change, as well as the skills of those around them to address needs leading to the behavior and manage these situations. The facilitator guides the team through the steps to prepare and develop safety plans. Safety planning, like other wraparound planning, respects family choice as what works for them, engages natural supports and the entire team in supporting the family, and looks at the unmet needs leading to the concerning behavior, and not just try and control the behavior, while also meeting community standards for safety. The facilitator is mindful of the stages of safety programming and guiding wraparound teams in reconnecting, restoring confidence, skill building, and restoring confidence and hope. In the next module, we will look at how facilitators guide the team through the wraparound process for successful transition from formal wraparound. Congratulations! You have completed Module 11, Safety Planning.